ex-wife drains my daughter's savings to bankroll her stepson's graduation party and refuses to repay it even after being confronted about it. So I finally decide to speak to her husband about it, and now she's suddenly ready to apologize for everything because her husband has filed for divorce and thrown her out on the streets, and she expects me to fix it. The mother of your child stealing from her own daughter, just to throw a party for her obnoxious stepson. I thought co-parenting with my ex-wife was going smoothly for 8 years. Then she did something so unbelievably selfish, so utterly betraying, it ignited a firestorm that not only blew up her own marriage, but pushed me to fight for full custody of our daughter. And the reason why she did it. That's the real gut punch. My ex-wife, Rita, and I have been divorced for 8 years now. We have a fantastic 15-year-old daughter together, and honestly, we'd been pretty good co-parents. No major drama, no real issues. Until recently. Until Rita decided to do something so shocking, so completely out of line, that I'm now rethinking everything. And on top of that, her own marriage is falling apart, and she's somehow blaming me for it. It's infuriating, truly. Rita remarried about 2 years ago to a guy named Adrian. From what my daughter told me, Adrian seems like a decent guy. I only met him briefly at their wedding. But the person my daughter absolutely can't stand is his son, Derek. Derek's 3 years older than my daughter, just graduated high school, and she describes him as arrogant, a bit of a bully. So, she mostly just avoids him. Rita even knows they don't get along. Which makes what she did next even more unbelievably cruel. See, my daughter has been saving up for a car since last year. She works a part-time job, we occasionally put money in her joint account, and she's diligent, putting away every single gift check. She dreams of buying a nice car on her 18th birthday, and with a little help, she'll get there. Rita knew all of this. Derek, Adrian's son, recently graduated. But here's the kicker. His grades were abysmal. He'd barely scraped by, and his chances of getting into a good college were slim to none. His dad, Adrian, was furious and refused to celebrate. He felt Derek was wasting his potential. Now, I don't know if that's right or wrong for a father to do, but I do think Rita should have respected Adrian's wishes. After all, she'd only known Derek a couple of years. Adrian had raised him his entire life. But no, Rita decided to throw Derek a party anyway. And since she couldn't ask Adrian for money without him finding out, she found another way. A horrible way. A couple of days ago, Rita waited until our daughter was napping, then she took her debit card. Without a word. She then proceeded to spend almost $3,000 of our daughter's hard-earned savings on party supplies for Derek. My daughter was left with barely $200. My heart just broke when I found out. Not only had she worked so hard for that money, but it was hers. Rita had no right. When our daughter found out, she was understandably devastated. She confronted Rita the day before the party. And what did Rita say? She told my daughter to cut out the drama. She insisted the party was happening whether she liked it or not. Then she had the audacity to say that all of our daughter's money was because of us anyway, so none of it was really hers. That was a flat-out lie. Our daughter had been working her tail off. And then, the ultimate gaslighting, Rita tried to tell our daughter that this money was going towards her brother's party fund, and she should be happy about it, instead of acting like a brat. She even tried to spin it as if Derek was the victim because his father wouldn't celebrate him. Said our daughter should be happy to make little sacrifices for family. It was pure nonsense. I could see right through Rita's pathetic attempts to downplay what she'd done. Thankfully, our daughter didn't fall for it. Even though it was Rita's turn to have her, she packed her bags and came straight to my house. She's refused to go back to her mom's, saying she feels completely betrayed. And she's right to feel that way. All she wants is her money back. And so do I. I tried to reason with Rita for days. The party had already happened, but she just kept saying the money wasn't our daughter's, refusing to return it. I called her out, told her she was being stingy. She has a good job, makes decent money. She could have afforded that party herself. Her excuse. She was saving for our daughter's future college fund. As if that justifies stealing from her current savings. It was a load of baloney. After days of fighting, with Rita completely unyielding, I knew I had to do something drastic. She wasn't going to budge. The money was technically spent on Derek, so I decided to go straight to his father, Adrian. I found him on Facebook and messaged him, explaining everything. I apologized profusely for involving him but told him how upset our daughter was and how unfair this whole situation was. I ended by saying it would be a huge help if he could convince Rita to repay the money, or even make arrangements himself. I got a reply within hours. Adrian was mortified. He apologized, saying he had no idea that's how Rita had paid for the party. He immediately asked for my bank details and transferred the money. Just like that. Relief washed over me. My daughter got her money back. We were both still furious with Rita, but at least this was resolved. We decided we wouldn't speak to her until she apologized. I didn't think it would happen anytime soon. But then, this morning, she showed up at my house. Screaming. Accusing us of ruining her marriage. Apparently, after I messaged Adrian, he'd confronted Rita. He was already unhappy about her throwing a party for Derek against his wishes. Now, he found out she'd stolen the money from her own daughter to do it. In his eyes, that was unforgivable. Humiliating, even. And he wants a divorce. I stood there, listening to her rant, thinking, how is any of this my fault? She brought it all on herself. I was already fuming, but the way she was yelling at our daughter, after everything she'd done, that was a bridge too far. I told my daughter to go inside, that she didn't need to hear this. Then I turned to Rita, stood my ground, and told her point blank, what's happening to you right now? It's your own damn fault. And you have no right to barge in here, screaming at us. That just made her even angrier. She started cursing me out, screaming that I was jealous, that I couldn't stand her being happy in a loving relationship, and that I was trying to ruin her life. I literally rolled my eyes. We'd been divorced for ages. I went to her wedding, for crying out loud. I didn't care about her love life. All her accusations were baseless. I got irritated. Leave, I told her, my voice low but firm. You're not going to gaslight us into believing any of this is our fault. She refused. I'm not going anywhere until you call my husband and tell him it was all a misunderstanding. Tell him I didn't do anything wrong. You're crazy, I scoffed, refusing. She started acting even crazier, stomping around, demanding I fix what I had damaged. She was screaming, cursing, honestly acting like a total psycho. After a while, I started feeling genuinely uncomfortable. There was clearly something very wrong with her. I kept telling her to leave. Finally, I warned her, if you don't go right now, I'm calling the police. That's when she collapsed, sobbing uncontrollably on the floor, wailing that it was all my fault and now I was threatening her with cops like she was the bad guy. It was surreal. She was so unstable, I couldn't even process it. Then, she started mumbling about how her biggest mistake had been marrying me, having a daughter with me, and now she was stuck with both of us ruining everything for her. I could handle her attacking me. But the second she dragged our daughter into it, I snapped. You know what? I snarled, my voice shaking with rage. You won't have to worry about me or our daughter being part of your life anymore. Because soon enough, I'll be speaking to my lawyer and filing for full custody. I paused, letting it sink in. And given the circumstances, I'm pretty sure our daughter won't mind. And neither will you. She started wailing even louder, calling me a horrible person, saying I was ruining her life and she didn't deserve any of this. But by then, all sympathy had completely evaporated. I didn't care about her mental state. I just told her, after everything you've done, you deserve every single bit of this. Adrian's doing the right thing. And soon, we'll be gone from your life too. She tried to amp up the crying, probably for sympathy, but I was done. I grabbed her by the arm, yanked her to her feet, and threw her out of my house. It was rough, but I had to. Now, she won't stop texting me, saying she's going through a lot and I should have been respectful and understanding. I'm not confused at all. Am I wrong for telling my ex-wife she deserves to be left by her husband and throwing her out? I don't think so. Update 1. Okay, so first of all, thank you all for the comments and support. I've since blocked Rita because she just wouldn't stop. The past couple of days have been incredibly stressful, and given her behavior, filing for full custody is definitely in everyone's best interest. I talked to my daughter, and she feels the exact same way. So, I've reached out to my lawyer. My daughter told me Rita wasn't just bothering me with those endless, self-pitying messages. She was sending the exact same ones to our daughter. How she feels entitled to kindness from us after being so incredibly unkind to her own child, I'll never understand. But we've both blocked her. Honestly, her unstable, scary behavior that day at my house. I don't want anything to do with her. I'm sure there's something seriously wrong, and I can't put my finger on it, but it affects my daughter, so it concerns me. Our custody arrangement means my daughter is legally supposed to spend half the month with her, and that just can't happen. I know Rita's going to throw a tantrum when she gets served, but I'm not backing down. We've mostly been on good terms for years, working through disagreements. But whatever's gotten into her lately, it's beyond anything I've seen. The fact that even Adrian is leaving her speaks volumes. I had some doubts about pursuing full custody, but after hearing all your thoughts, I know it's the right thing to do. Stealing from her own child, that's not a spur-of-the-moment decision. My daughter has spending limits on her account. Rita would have had to jump through hoops to access that money. And I don't even know my daughter's card PN. Rita must have gone through my daughter's personal things, like her diary, where she keeps passwords. That's the scary part. This was planned. Update 2. So, I spoke to my lawyer, and we filed for full custody a few days ago. I don't think she's been served yet, otherwise, she'd probably be at my door screaming again. I'm already dreading that. But I do want to tell you what I found out from Adrian today. He actually came to my house. I thought it was strange. We weren't friends, and now that he's divorcing Rita, we'd have even less to talk about. But I figured he wouldn't show up in person unless it was important. And that's when he told me. Rita was recently diagnosed with bipolar disorder. It had been a couple of months. Her behavior had been strange for a while, and Adrian pushed her to see a professional, which led to the diagnosis. It explained so much. Her irrationality, her instability. But it got worse. Adrian told me that after her diagnosis, Rita refused to take her medication and was incredibly irregular with her therapy sessions. Her therapist even tried to contact him multiple times because he'd asked to be kept in the loop, but Rita had blocked the therapist's number from his phone. This was all incredibly shocking, but then he dropped an even bigger bombshell. The party she threw. For Derek. It was mostly because Derek had found out she was acting like a kleptomaniac. Stealing stuff from everywhere. One time, she was even caught shoplifting while with him. Derek, in a twisted way, leveraged his connection to the store manager's son to get her off, but he held it over her head. That's why she threw him the party. Adrian only found out about all of this recently, from Derek himself, who felt incredibly guilty. He confessed he'd been forcing her to throw the party, but he had no idea it would have such dire consequences. So, I guess that's why Rita stole money from our daughter instead of just paying for it herself. For the thrill of it. I don't know her reasons, but one thing is clear, Rita is not stable right now. She has no business being around our daughter unsupervised. Adrian felt it was important to tell me all of this because we share custody. He also told me he felt incredibly guilty leaving her in such a bad state, but he had no other option. This whole situation was starting to affect his son, Derek, who's been disturbed ever since he lost his mother 9 years ago to severe depression after a cancer diagnosis. Adrian couldn't afford for his son to go through something like that again. I reassured him that he was doing the right thing for his child. That's what's most important. As for Rita, she has her parents and family. They'll take care of her. But our kids only have us. We have to prioritize them. After that chat, we both felt a bit better. He told me he'd already filed for divorce, and when I told him I'd filed for custody, we acknowledged it would be tough for Rita. But there was no looking back. I do feel bad for her, for what she's about to face. I just hope her parents are there for her and can handle her emotions. I know they're going to be all over the place once she finds out I'm keeping our daughter with me until I deem her fit to be a mother again. I don't mean to sound self-righteous, but honestly, she needs to focus on getting better. And I truly hope she does, from the bottom of my heart. Update 3. So, Rita's mother called me today. She told me Rita had been served with the papers earlier and was devastated. My ex-mother-in-law was crying on the phone, and I felt terrible for her. It couldn't be easy. I tried my best to explain why I had to do this. I wasn't sure if Rita had told them everything, so I narrated the entire incident, the theft, the gaslighting, the meltdown, and everything Adrian had told me. I explained that after all this, she couldn't possibly expect me not to want full custody of my daughter. I expected her to be shocked, thinking Rita must have left out crucial details to paint herself as the victim. But to my surprise, she said Rita had confessed everything to them. They knew about the bipolar diagnosis, the kleptomania. Rita had been telling them about it for months, feeling terrible, but she just couldn't stop. She needed help, not just professional, but emotional support. And instead, everyone was leaving her. My ex-mother-in-law said it was cruel of us, making her feel even more betrayed than Rita herself. For a second, I was annoyed. She was trying to make Rita out to be the victim again, even though we were victims of her behavior. But then I took a breath and tried to see it from her perspective. Of course, as a parent, I'd feel bad if my kid was going through something like this and everyone started abandoning them. I have a daughter, so I understood that feeling, at least partially. I told her I understood, but even then, I couldn't change my mind. I told her that if she were in my shoes, she'd be looking out for her own daughter too, just as she was doing for Rita now. That seemed to make her pause. She didn't say anything, then just abruptly hung up. I don't know what to make of that, but I'm just hoping things work out for everyone. Update 4. It's been almost a year since my last update, and things have been incredibly busy. Rita did end up getting divorced, and despite putting up a fight, she lost custody of our daughter. Not just because of the legal battle, but because our daughter made it clear she wanted to stay with me. But, surprisingly, we didn't end things on a bitter note. After she lost custody, Rita actually apologized to me, and more importantly, to our daughter. She promised to genuinely try and get better, for our daughter's sake. It was a really emotional moment. We promised to keep in touch because a couple of weeks later, she told us she was leaving the city, moving out of state to start fresh, to leave everything behind. She promised to be regular with therapy and medication. And she has been. For the past few months, since she moved away, we've been in touch. She's been making an effort to make it up to our daughter, sending handmade gifts every other weekend. It's a new hobby for her, and it's good for both of them. A lot has changed for me too. A few months ago, I met an amazing woman at work, and things are going incredibly well. She also has a daughter, a couple of years younger than mine, and they've become the best of friends. Even though we've only been together for about 7 months, we have such a strong connection. I'm actually planning on proposing in the next year or two. We've decided we'll move in together by the end of the year, and I'm so excited for what the future holds. I'm content with life right now. My personal life is great, and most importantly, my daughter is thriving. I hope that one day, she and her mother can fully reconcile. I truly hope that day comes soon. But for now, everything is genuinely great. Thank you all for the lovely, supportive comments and messages throughout this journey. If you're reading this, thank you for checking up on us. It really means the world to me. I'm curious, what would you have done in my position when Rita showed up at my door, screaming and blaming me? Have any of you dealt with a family member who refused mental health treatment despite clear issues? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to know.